A massive manhunt tonight.
Let's get right to this breaking news.
Now, the FBI is now involved in this investigation.
This is one of the busiest times of the year.
And Maryland Newsline starts now.
A family, a state in mourning. Baltimore Police homicide detective Sean Suter has been laid to rest and his killer still on the loose. Good evening, I'm Natalie Grimm and this is Maryland Newsline.
And I'm Laura Perrott. Grief, reflection, and anger tonight as hundreds attend Detective Sean Suter's funeral in Baltimore, paying tribute to a member of the force with a spotless record. CNS TV's Carly Kempler was there. Carly?
Thanks, Laura. It was an emotional day here for family and officers saying goodbye to Detective Sean Suter for the very last time. And the city's police commissioner says he expects to give an update on the search for the suspect by the end of this week. Reporting live in Baltimore County, Carly Kempler, CNS TV. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks so much, Carly. A sad day in Baltimore and still no answers. The investigation into Detective Suter's murder is ongoing. It's been 2 weeks exactly since the 18-year veteran of the force was murdered. It was just one day before Suter was supposed to testify about fellow officers in front of a federal grand jury. A $215,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to his killer's arrest.
Maryland, like much of the rest of the country, is in a battle against opioid drug addiction. Many of the drugs that find their ways to the streets come from overseas, and their point of entry is often through the Kennedy Airport in New York. CNS TV's Hallie DeBetta is back from a trip to New York and a visit to those on the front line of the efforts to keep those drugs from making their way across the U.S. Hallie joins us now live from the Update Center. Hallie?
Thanks, Natalie. It is a never-ending battle for those on the front line. Consider this. The fentanyl seized at JFK is 90% pure. It's unlike other fentanyl that comes in from the southwest border, which is typically already mixed with other opioids like heroin. Because of that, the job of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents truly can be a life or death matter for everyone involved. As I mentioned, JFK screens 60% of all international packages shipped into the U.S. The other 40% is handled by 8 other facilities around the U.S. Live in the Update Center, Hallie DeBetta, CNS TV. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks so much, Hallie. Millions of dollars spent, but still the lives lost to opioid overdoses here in Maryland are in the thousands. CNS TV's Becca King joins us from the newsroom with part 2 of her in-depth look at Anne Arundel County's Safe Station program. Becca?
Thanks, Laura. Back in July, nearly $300,000 went to local intervention teams in Anne Arundel County. But is it enough? And are programs like Safe Stations doing enough to save lives threatened by addiction? Clay Stamp tells me they're looking to expand the Anne Arundel County program to other parts of the state. And when I talked to Jen Corbin, she mentioned that counties on the Eastern Shore could be the next in line. Still, they say it's clear that we didn't get into this crisis overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight either. Live in the newsroom, Becca King, CNS TV. Laura and Natalie, back to you.
Thanks so much for that series, Becca. Another sexual assault allegation hits close to home. Find out which university might be in trouble.
Plus, suffering on the streets of Baltimore. This is one heartbreaking story you won't want to miss. Next.
Well, what would you do for a Klondike bar or a McDonald's Happy Meal? Coming up, we'll show you one woman's shocking response to that.
You're making me hungry, Becca. Plus, I'll take you to a Maryland elementary school bringing 2 worlds together.
Coming up, can you take back high school diplomas? You might wonder after hearing what's up next.
And one local high school is taking a stand against the Washington football team, but not because of their losing record.
It's panda time. You won't want to miss TNTN.
And Little Library's Big World. Find out how Marylanders are taking advantage of this fun service next.
Turkey, travel, and everybody's favorite, traffic. As the holiday season is fast approaching, you can expect some very busy roads. Good evening, I'm Alex Flum, and this is Maryland Newsline.
And I'm Becca King, but first we have some breaking news tonight.
Now, from the streets of Baltimore to school hallways, high school students from across the DMV organized a protest of their own on Monday. The teenagers took part in a lie-in outside of the White House to demand Congress take action on gun control.
Saturday's snowstorm seems like a distant memory. Temperatures reached 76 degrees in Maryland today, and Stephen, I was sweating through my shirt, let me tell you. And temperatures tomorrow may be as high as 79 in some parts of the DMV.
And the verdict is guilty. 2 former Baltimore police detectives have been indicted on charges of robbery, racketeering, and conspiracy. Marcus Taylor and Daniel Herzel, both members of the Gun Trace Task Force, face up to 60 years each for their crimes. The officers were found of having stolen money and goods from innocent civilians while on the job.
Popular neighborhood bartender Alex Robleski was shot and killed in the robbery attempt. Baltimore police say he stopped at this Rural Farm store on Key Highway near the Federal Hill neighborhood to get a late-night snack and was followed by the 3 suspects. Police believe they tried to rob Robleski in the parking lot.
Whether you like Hogan or not, his approval rating is as high as ever. A new Goucher poll shows Hogan at a 67% approval rating, with only 22% disapproval. Hogan's seat is being contested by at least 8 Democratic challengers in 2018.
A 92-year-old World War I memorial meant to honor fallen soldiers of Prince George's County has been ruled unconstitutional. The 4th U.S. Circuit of Appeals says the statue, located at the 3-way intersection of Baltimore Avenue, Annapolis Road, and Bladensburg Road, is a breach of the church-state divide, endorsing Christians while ignoring non-Christian veterans.
Another lawsuit, this time against the school board and Judge Sylvania W. Woods Elementary School in Prince George's County. Earlier this year, Deontay Caraway, a school aide, was found guilty of sex abuse involving students there. The lawsuit, filed on behalf of a 9-year-old victim, claims the school ignored complaints against Caraway for at least 15 months.
Welcome back to Maryland Newsline. The Chesapeake Bay Journal, an award-winning newsletter that has covered the Bay for over 25 years, has taken legal action against the EPA for rescinding its grant money. The Bay Journal was 2 years into a 6-year grant agreement worth nearly $2 million.
But this isn't the first time supporters of the Chesapeake Bay and the federal government have clashed this year, and many say it's due to the direction being set by the Trump administration. CNS TV's Hallie Miller has been looking into those concerns and joins us now. Hallie?
That's right, Becca. I can tell you there's real concern about the future of ongoing efforts to restore the health of the Bay. I've talked with a number of people over the past couple of months, and many fear the progress that's been made to make the Bay cleaner and more sustainable for future generations may be at risk.
It's all that whole point there.
Captain Ed Darwin went fishing on the Chesapeake Bay for the first time when he was 18 years old. It was key to setting his course for the future.
I decided that I loved the water so much I was going to get a charter boat and go fishing. And I did, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
At 86 years old, not much has changed.
It's just a great adventure every morning.
With many decades of experience, Darwin has built a reputation as one of Maryland's most skilled watermen. And he's not alone in his passion.
The little boat is.
For many, the Chesapeake Bay is the heart of Maryland and the backbone of their own lives.
For many Marylanders, just the idea of spending time out on the bay is kind of their idea of happiness.
But many worry that the bay's health is nowhere close to where it should be.
It makes it very easy to take boats wherever we go.
Chuck Fox is the former Maryland Secretary of Natural Resources, a former EPA Assistant Administrator for Water, and the former Chesapeake Bay Czar for the Obama administration. He knows the challenges only too well.
Agricultural sources of pollution are not going down enough. And in fact, in some parts of the Chesapeake Bay watershed, there's evidence that agricultural pollution loads are going up.
The EPA beefed up its commitment to saving the Bay with the creation of the Chesapeake Bay program. Specific goals were set for Maryland, 5 other states, and Washington, D.C. in the Bay's watershed. The program also provides $73 million annually to help meet those goals. Then, earlier this year, President Trump's initial budget proposal called for the elimination of that $73 million.
It's completely unprecedented. It's just not a logical course of action.
The House has voted to restore it to $60 million, and a Senate subcommittee voted last month to restore the entire $73 million. Since then, the Bay's overall health rating has improved from a 31 to a 34. The Bay will be considered saved with a rating of 70. Without funding, Bay experts worry that the cleanup will lose its momentum and fall off course.
These federal funds really serve as the glue that holds the Chesapeake Bay program together.
The members of Congress from the 6 Bay states, Democrats and Republicans, are working to restore the Chesapeake Bay program's funding to its previous levels.
The Chesapeake Bay is an incredible national treasure. It's a natural treasure, and we need to do everything we can to protect it for those reasons. But it's also a vital economic lifeline.
According to a 2009 National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration report, the seafood industry in Maryland and Virginia alone contributed $3.39 billion in sales, $890 million in income, and almost 34,000 jobs to the local economy. Senator Van Hollen recently proposed legislation through the Farm Bill, which would triple the amount of current funding aimed at the Chesapeake Bay's protection. But Van Hollen says that alone won't be enough, especially since the House has begun an effort to reduce the EPA's ability to monitor the amount of pollution that states emit daily into the bay.
They want to take away, essentially, the ability of the EPA to enforce the agreement, which would be a very negative development because you need to have some teeth.
And for those who have spent a lifetime on the bay's water, like Ed Darwin, what's at stake is nothing less than the future.
My family love to fish, and hopefully my granddaughters will too.
I did reach out several times to the Environmental Protection Agency for their perspective and received the following statement in an email in response to this piece. We continue to work with Congress to ensure that shared environmental goals of the region are met, including ensuring the Chesapeake Bay remains a priority. Capitol News Service will continue to watch and keep you updated as proposals for the Bay's cleanup funding make their way through Congress. Reporting live in the studio, Hallie Miller, CNS TV. Back to you, Alex.